But I've got a new stock pick for you that 100% of the time has been a good buy at this point in the year. We're moving towards a major catalyst, which has always caused this stock to continue to pump, and I'm bringing it to you early before a major move has occurred. Of course, I don't know if it's only going to go up, but I'm going to lay out the bull case and the bear risk for you guys today on a new stock pick. I think you guys will find this one interesting, and I'm bringing it to you early so that you could do your own due diligence. You could look at the charts and make a decision as to what you want to do with your money. I'm sharing with you what I'm doing with my money and why. I have to highlight Apple. They're reporting earnings this week. Everybody keeps asking me in the comments section and in the Stocks with Josh Discord, hey man, I'm getting a little nervous. What are we doing with our Apple investment? What are we doing with our Apple call options? Well, first of all, I hope that you have a little time on those options, because if for some reason this doesn't pop this week, you need a little bit of time to figure out what to do next. Largely, I'm bullish, and I've shared with you guys many times why I'm bullish going into these earnings is because Wall Street is bullish. Smart money has significantly loaded up more on calls than puts. They're expecting something out of this earnings event because, after all, Apple really hasn't moved with the rest of the market. Nvidia's moved to that #1 spot. It continues to climb, and Apple has continued to move sideways. But it would take very, very little to get this stock moving. And so Wall Street's expecting a positive move overall. When you look at the call option flow, it's flowing towards the bull case for Apple. Now, tomorrow morning, UNH is reporting earnings. United Healthcare. Now, these guys have been in trouble. And I'll just tell you, I looked at that chart again today, and there's absolutely nothing bullish about that chart. It's absolutely in a descending phase. It's trending down. Now, you have to be a strong believer in the overall success of this company and that at some point, this thing will reverse. Now, I do believe that it will reverse, but it wouldn't shock me if it goes lower. And that's why this has been a small nibbling play for me. I don't have any major prediction for you regarding UNH. They report earnings tomorrow morning. This is an underdog story and a stock which I do believe will turn around. One thing that I've said that I have my own level of conviction on is that every single stock purchase that I make on UNH will, I believe, go into the profit. So tomorrow could present another buying day if it pulls back. That's my view on UNH. Let me know what you think is going to happen with the earnings tomorrow. All right, guys, let's talk about a company that I believe is absolutely seeing secular growth. It's one that has done a lot of consolidation, but it's putting together a pattern in the charts that I don't think can be ignored anymore. And we're moving towards earnings, not this week, but the following week, August 6th, Wednesday. It's not this Wednesday, it's the following Wednesday. DraftKings is going to report earnings. And here's what's interesting about DraftKings, guys. 100% of the time, it's been a smart investment in the summer before going into the football season. 100% of the time, on average, this has gone up around 16, 17% between the middle of the summer and September. And so there's definitely opportunity for this. They're reporting earnings, and the stock is giving us a price action that's slowly beating up against resistance, which has largely been around $45. Now, if this has a good earnings, this thing can absolutely run up to $52 to $54, and the options that we would buy today would go up 100%. And that's why I'm bringing it to your guys' attention. In the Stocks with Josh Discord, I alerted this one today when I took my initial position. I would love to have some pullbacks between now and next week. I'm going to continue to nibble because this is an earnings play. They've got a lot of interesting things going for them, and I'm going to break that down for you guys today. This is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for dropping a heart, saying hi in the comments. Come check out the Stocks with Josh Discord. We have some incredible things going on there. And it's not just me. It's me and the people that I've assembled. It's the entire community that supports each other. But in particular, I brought to everybody's attention a couple weeks back, one of my crown traders, stock brother, who focuses on penny stocks. And he had a massive, huge win of $52,000 on a penny stock that he bought at 20 cents and ran up to around 32 or 34 cents. and he locked in some profits. He shared that win with me. And I said, man, this thing's going higher. This thing is only just beginning. I made a bold prediction. And I said, in the next couple of days, it's going to move from 32 cents to 50 cents. He loaded back up and a lot of other people joined, and he made another 40,000. Now he's obviously putting in some big position size, but this was one where I felt pretty strong about the charts that we were at minimum going to hit 52 cents. Now it went on to hit $1.66, and every step along the way, I kept calling it up till eventually I got out at $1 and it continued to run, but I was more than happy to take it from 32 cents to $1. Now, you guys know the story. Some of you who are new to the page don't know the story, but the reason why I'm bringing it up again is because Stock Brothers shared one of the followers of the Stocks with Josh Discord who actually ran up their small account to, I believe, $168,000. Now, I do not recommend this, okay? I do not believe that you want to put heavy amounts of money into small cap, micro cap projects that are not profitable. I think it's super high risk and I would not recommend it, but I had to share their success. I will say this, that we have put together a team in the Stocks with Josh Discord that does take risk into consideration. And when you marry that risk together with some good charting like I provided for IXHL, opportunities can really take you somewhere. So I wanted you guys to be aware of that success story. I wanted to personally congratulate that person as well as everybody who's followed us on that play. Well done, Stock Brother. It's continuing to pay. On that point, I will mention that IXHL did have a massive run up to $1.66 and it's cooled off, but it hasn't capitulated yet, which means it's still in play. You'll get more technicals on that and other small cap stocks in the Stocks with Josh Discord. It's the name of the show is the website. You simply type in www.stockswithjosh.com and come check it out. All right, let's talk about DraftKings and why it's trending, why the stock price has consistently been going up. One of the reasons is that as the original game plan that you guys might have heard years ago, is that more and more states were legalizing gambling. And as more and more states have come on, it's led to the increased revenues, increased profits of DraftKings. In addition to that, the number one reason why I'm talking about it today is that 100% of the time, if you buy DraftKings in the summer, it runs up before the football season begins. 100% of the time, DraftKings has a price surge in its shares as we move into football season. On average, that return has been a minimum of 12%. And in addition to that, they have distinguished themselves against one of their largest competitors, FanDuel, by consistently growing market share and retaining it in the ups and downs of those seasonal moves. Now, that's not the only positive thing that's going on. This is a company that is yet to become profitable, and that's normal on Wall Street. Companies have to invest millions and sometimes billions of dollars into building up their infrastructure. That's why they raise money through selling shares. They fund the growth, and eventually they've got to get profitable. Well, a lot of eyes are on DraftKings this year because it is looking as if this might be the year they go profitable. Typically, when that happens, the stock gets a lot more eyes. And once they have that positive EBITDA, more investment firms will take a position in the stock. And one of the other things that we've also seen is that more analysts have been steadily raising their earnings predictions for DraftKings, which when you have that type of trend, it's something that Wall Street pays attention to because it basically means it's growing and not shrinking and building a little bit of a moat and might be a future winner. Now, there is one more factor that I have to talk about before I get into the chart, and that's AI. DraftKings has proven recently to be a little bit smarter about how they're investing in pursuing new customers and how they're retaining existing customers through personalization, as well as using AI to improve their bet recommendations, as well as to protect their clients against fraud. Whenever you're dealing with money, those additional layers of protection add a lot of security and peace of mind, and they're using AI to provide those additional services, helping them retain more of their customers and even overall reduce the amount of money that they're spending to gain new customers. Here's another thing that we've got to pay attention to, and it's how is smart money positioning themselves? Now, when I share how smart money is positioning themselves, I want you to know where I go and get that data. We have a custom built options calculator that searches out those details and provides them for you in the Stocks with Josh Discord. It's super easy to use. It helps you evaluate each and every one of your option plays, but it also tells you when you're getting into a position, maybe you're taking a call on Apple or Tesla, it tells you how smart money is currently positioned, and you want to check that and see if you're going with the trend or against the trend. But the trend currently on DraftKings is looking pretty bullish. Let me go over this with you. The overall options flow is consistent bullish positioning in long-dated calls, including January 2026 leaps. This is signaling very long-term conviction. And if that wasn't the only thing, we're also seeing something unique. Insider buying. There's a lot of reasons why somebody might sell their shares, but there's only one reason why somebody would buy shares, and that's because they have the conviction that they will go up in value. Executives have been net buyers over the past 6 months. Analyst targets have been raised across firms with the average target between $50 and $55, and in some bull cases, north of $70 in 2026. And so smart money sees this as being in a secular trend and going up long term. Now, in the Stocks with Josh Discord, the unusual options activity has signaled that currently the largest trade in the short term for DraftKings is a 0.1 million bullish 40 call option expiring August 1st, purchased on July 28th. Institutional investors are favoring call options with a 6.5x more money in calls than puts in the short term. 6.5 times more money in calls than there are in puts. So that gives you a little bit of a blanket of security, knowing that you are going with the trend, with the smart money investment on DraftKings as we're getting closer to the fall. The overall flow of institution and retail traders, which means all option purchases across the board, 2025 and 2026, 60% is positioned bullish, while only 40% is positioned bearish. Smart money thinks this is going higher. All right, so what do the charts tell me right now, and what are the triggers in those charts that would cause us to know that this is actually going to move right now, soon? Let me take you into that chart. Okay, guys, you can see that over time we have been making a series of higher lows very consistently. In local trading price action, there have been no lower lows, only higher lows. And price action, as we push up against this previous area of resistance of $45, has begun to really tighten up right underneath resistance. And that presents the opportunity, similar to what we saw back here, for an explosive gap up move. We can push through. 4610 would be the trigger on the daily time frame. 4750 would be the trigger on the weekly time frame. And if we get some volume over those two price points, the target becomes $50 to $53 in a very quick time frame. Now, in particular, I'm not doing any short-dated options on this particular play, but I am looking at September options as the earliest, but I prefer September and October options for DraftKings right now, because if next week's earnings don't turn out too well, you give it a little bit of time, you'll have a week or two for those to recover or for price to stabilize before getting out. There's risk. There's obviously risk. If you're going to take a play like this through earnings, you don't want to be in too heavy. You want it to only be a small portion of your trade account. I think DraftKings has distinguished themselves, and if you're going to give any attention to this company this week, today is the time to be looking at it before it runs up. You don't want to come tardy to the party. Let me know if you guys like DraftKings going through August and into September. It doesn't mean it's going straight up, but if I take a position and we get a little dip, I'll be building my position because, as I said at the beginning of the show, 100% of the time, this stock has gone up through the month of August as we move closer to football season. And in addition to all of that, if they finally move towards profitability in 2025, it's going to bring a lot more eyes on this company. You want to be looking at it before they do. Let me know what you guys think of DraftKings. Hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And come join me in the Stocks with Josh Discord. Peace and blessings.